So we have 12 people here, so I think we should start now. So welcome everyone to the program. My name is Sonia Currants and Jeffrey, and I work in an organization called Illuminations. So the goal of Illuminations is we're a holistic healing and well-being space here in Dubai. We have 3 branches in the UAE, 1 in Abu Dhabi, and 2 in Dubai. The mission of Illuminations is to help people look within themselves to live more happier, healthier, and productive way of life. So before we begin, I'd like each one of you to briefly introduce yourself, so we can have more of an interactive chat rather than a kind of one direction. So I see somebody by the name of Christine Newton. So if you could just briefly say hello, it would be nice to get a quick introduction from you.
Hi, I'm Christina.
How's it going, Christina?
It's going okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you so much. So tell us a bit about yourself, Christina.
I'm a year 6 teacher, GEMS First Point School. And yeah, I've been finding this distance learning period really challenging actually. I just feel like it's been very overwhelming, and I really miss being in the classroom with the children. I miss my routine. So yeah, I'm interested to see like what I can do to maybe motivate myself a little bit more.
Great.
Yeah,
great,
thank
great.
you.
Thank you. All right, then we have Lewis Jones. Hi, Lewis. How's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So welcome to the program. Is there anything that you're hoping to achieve or like anything that you'd like to expect out of it, or anything that you're going through that you'd like to kind of share?
I think like for me, I always find I'm trying to get rid of barriers to doing things, if you know what I mean. I always seem to like come up with excuses or barriers to stop me from maybe going out and doing some exercise or something like that. It's always like something else that crops up and I think, oh, well, I have to do that later. Maybe just try and get over that, really.
Right, great. Well, let's hope we can motivate you before the end of the session to kind of reach your goals. So thank you so much for joining in. Next, we have Esther Palahi. Hi, Esther. How's it going? Esther, can you hear us, Esther?
Hello.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How's it going, Esther?
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm good, thank you. I'm just curious and if I can learn something, so welcome. So basically, yeah, I'm well, even if sometimes I think it's very challenging. But it's I'm very into this path of well-being. I know Illuminations since a long time ago, but yeah, if I can know other techniques or anything, so it's always welcome. I'm a secondary teacher and I'm happy to be here.
Great, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Next we have Anamika. Hi, Anamika.
Hi.
How's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So yes, my name is Anamika. I happen to be a learning support assistant for the secondary students. I work with the inclusion department, and I just joined in, so I don't know what was the background.
Just basically sharing a little bit about your experience during the pandemic and if there's anything that you're hoping to expect to learn from this.
It has been good going so far. As I always say, go with the flow. You can't do much about it, so might as well accept and you know how it is.
Let things unfold.
You go with the flow, that's it. You do what is expected of you, and You just stay safe, stay positive. There's nothing much you can do regarding this at this time,
I guess. But yeah, sometimes it's easier said than done in certain situations and with certain people. So hopefully today we can, inspire people to be a lot more positive, but using tools and in a more proactive approach. So thank you.
I was telling my colleague the other day that, everybody has got their own pros and cons about this time right now.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we just hope everything turns out positive sooner or later. That's all right now. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely provided a lot of learning opportunities in this school of life, basically. So,
yes.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, and hope you enjoy the session.
Thank you.
Hi, Christine Newton. Oh, sorry. I think we passed through Christine already. Sorry, Mary Oiro, if I can pronounce that correctly. Hi, Mary.
Hi. I hope you can hear. Good. Yes. I can hear everyone, and it's true that it has its own cons and pros. But then, if you look at things, it's all about our mind. So that's one thing I've believed on. So when it comes to learning part of it, trust me, I miss school because the kind of students I'm working with, they are more of hands-on. So you can imagine how things are.
Right.
And then the other side of it that I can say I've grabbed something positive in this is learning a new skill that I never thought I'll do this, like braiding my own hair. I wouldn't have done that if it were not for this like situation or this moments. So
Great.
it's like you just check the both sides of it. How is it helping me in my career, and how is it helping me in my personal life? So yes.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
We next have Nima Lakani.
Hiya. Hi, I'm Nima. I'm a year 2 teacher. I'm Gem's First Point. We only just got to Dubai in August this year, and we've had quite a lot of, both as a family, we've had quite a lot of professional and personal challenges, and it means that we may have to move back home. So it's, I've enjoyed Dubai, but I think during this time recently, it's been quite challenging to stay positive. And I'm quite a positive person, but at times you forget, you kind of lose those tools, or you kind of make up your own ways of being positive. And I just want to learn some solid ways of maintaining that positivity and maintaining that momentum. I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I just need to kind of keep it in me constantly.
Right.
Because obviously, like everyone else, we're all having challenges at the moment, and we just need to kind of stay on top of things to a certain extent, don't we?
Exactly. And, and having practical tools that can help you apply this whole concept of positivity is more appropriate right now, because it's very easy to say, yeah, we should think more positive, but what does that really even mean?
Exactly.
Sometimes we also have to think more, like we also have to be, I guess, more authentic to what we're actually feeling in the moment. And so I think more than positivity here, the kind of message that I'd like to, talk about is about being more authentic to what you're truly feeling, and how you can actually flip that and use it as a learning opportunity, which then as a byproduct can make you feel good. But just offhand, sometimes telling a person that, oh yeah, you should think positive, can sometimes be a little bit of a daunting task when things aren't exactly the way we want them to, so
I think that's exactly it. I think, we say to each other, stay positive, but actually how is that, what strategy do you use to stay positive? I mean, you can say to stay positive, but like you said, we need those tools. So I mean, that's what I've come here today for, just to kind of learn a bit more about how to maintain that.
Well, that's the intention of the seminar, so I'm glad we're aligned.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
To sharing more with you. The next person I have on my list is Sandra Elaine. Hi Sandra, how's it going? Hey there.
Hi. It was so nice to see some of your faces. I thought I would turn my video on too. So I'm Sandra. Obviously, you guys know me. I'm teaching art in secondary, and I do a lot of work with student well-being, but in terms of personal growth, it's really important to me as well. So when this opportunity came up to share something with staff, I thought it was perfect because, like you're all saying, we're having a lot of ups and downs with this, and as this time stretches for longer and longer, I'm sure you guys feel like some days you just don't want to get out of bed. You're like, I can't do this again, because it's like you're a hamster on a wheel. And then some days you just have the most amazing days. And I find my students are still messaging me. I find that the days that I feel the most fulfilled are the days that I feel like I've accomplished something and I've been creative and I've actually done something of substance. But like I think Lewis was saying, how do you get that initial push and that drive to actually get up and do that when it's so easy to get stuck in this black hole of Netflix or sitting on the couch or chilling all day? So I think this will be really useful for everybody.
I guess it's your intention, and if we live each day with intent and with the clear, like with a lot more clarity, then I think that can motivate us to have foresight into what we're doing, why we're doing this, and how we can contribute to improving our lives and the lives of other people around us. So,
yeah.
So hopefully through this seminar I can share some insight, and hopefully it'll inspire you. We have two more people. I have Rose and Susan. So Rose, hello.
Hi. Good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you.
So I'm also at FPS. I'm a year 2 teacher. And yeah, I think listening to a lot of people, it's kind of comforting to hear that, because you never want to hear that people are struggling, but also it kind of feels lonely when you are. And I think like I'm usually a very positive person about things, but also I just busy myself all day, every day, doing things to make me feel like I've achieved something. And so in doing this and being at home all the time, and you know, we're still really busy with work, but I find myself sometimes getting unhealthy obsessions with things that are supposed to be positive. So like if I don't do my yoga or exercise every day, then that is a negative, and then it spirals me into feeling like not positive thoughts. But I think for me, I want to find something that creates a healthy positivity that I can turn to in times, like Sandra was saying, where sometimes you wake up and you just don't have that get up and go, and you kind of need to find a healthy way of dealing with it and of finding something that would make you feel like you've accomplished something, or you feel positive about yourself without it having to, I don't know, be a cause from someone else or because of what you've done. Just like a mental healthy attitude without having to have done something for it.
Sure, that makes sense. Like, you know, I think even when I, you know, first found out about this pandemic, I was just like, all right. And, you know, we use a lot of coping mechanisms in order to deal with our pain or struggle or anxiety or fear. And a lot of us will either go to one extreme where we'll just kind of switch off, or we'll take it easy. And then you have the other extreme where we have to remind ourselves, this is a pandemic, not a productivity contest, you know? And I think we have to allow ourselves to feel, I guess, more authentic when we're not okay. And I think if we just do nothing about it, that's also okay. And when you are more clear within your own space through practices such as mindfulness or meditation, you allow yourself to be still. And rather than, you know, that stillness will not provide you with turbulence, but rather more of peace and presence. Where it's okay if you don't, you know, one day go to yoga class or exercise, or wanting to be like more productive than you should be, because you're just okay being where you are right now, and that's okay, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a hard thing to find. Like positivity for me in stillness is like the complete opposite of what I think it should be. And so it would just be really nice to find ways that I know I could sit and be positive.
Well, thanks for joining in, and I hope you get some value from this.
Thanks.
Sandra, is it Sandra, or yeah, I believe Sandra Elaine is the last person here.
You've got me. I think you might have missed Ria though, and Susan.
Susan is
all right,
Susan.
great. We do Sandra, and then we move on to Ria.
Sandra has spoken. Susan is yet to speak.
Okay, so whoever is left to speak. Susan? Is it Susan? Susan.
Hi.
Hi, Susan. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I've been quite positive, and I've had difficulties wearing the mask, but I've been trying to live one day at a time. So, yeah, I'm hoping to learn a lot during this session, though.
Great. Welcome. Anybody else left?
Yeah, there is Rhea here.
Hello.
Hello. How are
I see
you?
Moto E5 Plus. So Moto E5 Plus would be.
Sorry?
I see Moto E5 Plus. Is that your mobile phone?
Sure.
Okay. How's it going?
Great. Not bad so far. I've tried to be positive, try to keep on the mask, gloves, going outside. Yeah, I've tried.
Okay. And how's that been going?
Not really bad. A little bit stressful when you go outside, when you try to exchange words with someone, sometimes they cannot understand. You feel like you want to take it off and you feel like it's risky, you know. I'm trying to keep up. Yeah, and also try to keep my mind busy, trying to look for something new to do. Yeah. Get on with some new life skills.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing, and I hope you enjoy the session. All right, so we have everyone spoken. Is there anybody else who'd like to share anything? All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Sonia, and like I said earlier, I work with an organization called Illuminations, helping people to look within themselves to live more happier, healthier, and a more productive way of life. So the intention of this seminar is to just basically share and contribute. You know, like what we're noticing around us is a lot of people are going through a lot of changes with these unprecedented times, and we are witnessing times that we'd only thought we'd watch in the movies. And now that we're actually going through this, we're just here to share, learn, grow, and inspire people to, you know, show up as the best version as they can with the tools and practices that we promote. And this involves working with the mind, working with the body, working with your emotions, and using practices like mind science approaches, positive psychology, hypnosis, meditation, mindfulness, healing, and a lot more. So the topic of today's seminar is tapping into the power of your mind for positivity, productivity, and creativity. It is often said, you know, that when we live if we are depressed, we are living in the past. If we're anxious, we're living in the future. And if we're peaceful, we're living in the present. And I guess one of the most important things is understanding, you know, the purpose and intent that we want to live our lives. But regardless of where we find value, I think at some level or the other, we are all on a quest to live more happier, healthier, to live you know, like a life which is making us feel more content. We're looking for a peace of mind, and everybody wants to feel this balance, you know. A lot of times we think that we're going to achieve this balance from our career. So if we're doing really well in our careers, we might feel this balance. For other people, they might feel this happiness in relationships. For other people, they're happier when they feel really good and they wake up every morning and they feel healthy to go to the gym or exercise. So we are always kind of looking for this happiness, contentment, and peace of mind from everything outside of us, right? So you have your career, you have money, you have relationships, you have health. But given that life is very temporary and turbulent in nature from what we have witnessed during the pandemic, When we seek this happiness, contentment from the external environment, there's a chance that when the environment does not support us in any way, or things don't go as expected, it leaves us feeling unhappy and again, completely in a state of illusion as to why did this happen. So for example, whatever in life goes up must come down. When we experience happiness, we must also experience pain. When we experience highs, we also experience our lows. So sometimes if we get caught up in the high, and when we experience a low, we start asking questions like, why did this happen to me? What is the purpose of my life? Who am I and how can I change? It is usually when we go through painful experiences in life or challenges or struggles, that is really truly when we start to question life, whether life is working for us or not. Very rarely you will see people waking up when life is working for them and saying, why am I so beautiful today? Or why am I so successful today? People start only questioning life at some level when life isn't working for them in the way they intended it to. And that can be a great struggle. But if we look at it on the flip side, given that everyone here is a teacher, we can understand that life can also provide a lot of learning opportunities in this school of life. And so it is important to understand how we choose to perceive our experiences. And sometimes it's asking the right questions. And like, as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And sometimes our challenges and struggles help us to learn, evolve, and grow to become the best version of ourselves. Now, when we seek for this validation from the outside world, chances are we are always left with the risk of feeling dissatisfied when things no longer, work our way. And I guess the real journey of personal evolution begins when we start asking the right questions. So if we talk about the mind, for example, we have powerful resources within us, okay? Such as the mind, the body, and the energy and our emotions. And the mind, as we know, is a powerful tool that can move us to accelerating heights, but can also spiral us down to the depths of our own despair. A lot of the times, how our mind is working for us really is a reflection of how our life is working for us. We can allow our mind to either work for us or work against us. So I'd like to invite you for a little quick exercise. If everybody could just close their eyes and have your legs uncrossed and rest comfortably on a chair or any back support. I'm going to take you through a quick exercise to help you understand how your mind is working for you. Is your mind working in favor of you, or is your mind working against you? So if you all will close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in and out. Now with your eyes comfortably closed, I want you to just evaluate the different areas of your life. Let us first start with your relationships. I want you to close your eyes and reflect on the relationships that you share with your loved ones. Are they happy and harmonious? Or do they trigger you, challenge you, and bring about emotions which disturb you? Just do a mental scan of all the relationships in your life with friends, colleagues, partners, children. I now want you to move to the next area of your life, your career, work, vocation. Do you wake up every morning feeling passionate about your job? Feeling that you're living a life of purpose, contributing, adding value, feeling motivated, driven? Or do you feel lack of motivation, low on energy, angry, irritated? I now want you to move into another area of your health. Do you take care of your body? Do you pay attention to your thoughts? Do you wake up in the morning feeling good about your body, about your health? Or do you get sick often? Low on energy, chronic aches and pains? And now move on to the last area of your life, your self-expression. Are you showing up as your most authentic self? Are you expressing your truth? Are you sharing and inspiring through your skills or talent or strengths? As you evaluate and reflect on the 4 cornerstones of your existence, you will start to notice that everything that's happening in your external life or in your external world is largely a reflection of what's going on in your inner space. So whenever you feel comfortable, you may open your eyes. All right. So at Illuminations, our philosophy lies in the fact that your outer world is a reflection of your inner self. 80% of the success in your life is based on your inner programs and your patterns of how you will show up and experience the life that you've created. And only 20% of your success and happiness is based on your skill set or what's going on in the outside world. A lot of your happiness lies within your own behavior patterns, within your own beliefs, with your thoughts, through your attitude, your actions, and your words. Our attempt at Illuminations is helping people work on these inner programs and patterns so that they can show up and create the life that they want to. Because we believe that when you change things inside of you, you have the power to change things around you. A lot of the experiences of emotions that we want to feel, like happiness, joy, passion, has largely to do with what's going on in our inner space. And if our inner space remains turbulent, chances are this turbulence will show up and reflect in our external world, in our relationships. How we respond with our partners, with our students, with our family members, largely has to do with how we feel as human beings. If we're angry all the time, and if we're upset all the time, chances are we'll end up reacting more than responding. And that response will have a direct effect on what we will experience back from our world. And I know this is stating the obvious, but today our goal is to actually look within ourselves and to align the programs and patterns so that we can create a life that we want to experience. Now, we do so using a holistic healing approach. So when we say holistic, holistic comes from the Greek word meaning whole. And what does it mean to be whole? To be whole is to perceive yourself not just having a body, but also having a mind, an energy, and emotions which work in tandem in order for you to feel this balance, contentment, happiness, and peace in your life. So our goal is to look within ourselves to tap into these areas. These are gifted resources that we have at our disposal. And sometimes we are not tapping into these resources to its full potential in order to allow these resources to provide us with the experience that we wish to have. All right, so how does this actually kind of happen, right? So we talk about the mind, we talk about emotions, we talk about energy, we talk about the body, but we're here to propose like an approach that actually allows you to understand how our thoughts affect our experience in the body and the world around us. So this is known as the integrated approach. And the integrated approach works on the foundation that everything in life begins with a thought. Thought is the root of your creation. So the electricity that I'm experiencing right now was first a thought in Sir Thomas Edison's mind to invent the light bulb. The light bulb has then evolved to electricity, which we experience. Okay? Thought is the root of all creation. Any idea that manifests into the world first began with the thought. Now, every thought that we have generates an emotion that we will feel depending on our perception. So if I think about work and if I'm passionate about work, what is my emotion going to be? It's going to be passion, it's going to be excitement, it's going to be joy, it's going to be, strength, it's going to be motivation. But if I think about, for example, the coronavirus and the thought of, opening the newspaper every morning and, the media says that, we have 1,000 people who died today and 300 people are sick. The thought of people getting sick generates an emotion of fear. So every thought you have generates an emotion that you will feel. These emotions influence the energy that exists within and around us. So what science says is that within each one of us, we have a life force. Okay, so in holistic healing, we call this life force your energy or your aura. Everything in this universe is energy. If we are body, we are energy. E equals mc squared, which is energy equals matter times the speed of light, which tells us that everything is energy. Our thoughts are energy, our emotions are energy, our body is energy. Within and around us, we are made up of energy. So depending on the way we think and we feel, these energies fluctuate. Now, these energies are directly correlated with the glands of the body. So whenever we feel a disturbing thought, such as stress, anxiety, the emotion is fear, your energy levels will always feel lower. So when you had waken up last morning, you had all the energy in the world because you were feeling happy. You were motivated to wake up at 6 a.m. and go for that run. But the moment you started feeling fearful, all of a sudden, you just have the lack of motivation and energy in order to, go on that run again today. And what happens? Because this energy is directly correlated with the glands in the body, and then it regulates the hormones, and the body feels every thought. So every psychological thought has a physiological response in the body. Doctors estimate, they no longer argue the mind-body connection. We've heard of concepts like the placebo effect. When you think that something's going to heal you, it actually does. Or doctors estimate that a large amount of the dis-ease that we experience in the body starts from your thought process. So something that starts off as psychological, if we don't resolve it at any level, it ends up becoming something which is physiological. And this physiological breakdown results in more anxiety, results in chronic aches and pains, results in many other issues if left unresolved. So we can understand on a daily basis, and this is something we've all experienced. We're very happy one day, and suddenly we receive a call and we get some bad news. Suddenly our emotions, our energy, and our body responds to those thought processes. So we can now understand how powerful our thoughts are in shaping the reality that we experience on a day-to-day basis. So we all understand that everything in your life starts with a thought. Where do thoughts come from? Thoughts come from the mind. So let's understand a little bit about how the mind works. At this point, I'm going to take a little bit of a pause. Is there anybody that'd like to share, ask any questions? You may unmute yourself and simply ask a question. Are we good to go? All right, so if we have no more questions, let's move forward. So let us see how this process works of how our thoughts work in our mind to manifest or to create the life that we wish to experience. So how does the mind work? So you have 10 to 12% of your mind, which is your conscious mind. So on an ongoing and day-to-day basis, we are only using 10 to 12 of our mind capacity, which is your conscious mind. What does your conscious mind do? Your conscious mind is where you store all your rules of living. All your rules, such as, your conscious logical mind, where you rationalize, calculate, quantify, qualify. So if we are only using around 88 to 90% of our mind capacity, what is the rest of the mind doing? The rest of the mind is the subconscious mind, which I'm sure all of you would have heard of. So the subconscious mind, in a very simple explanation, is a storage house of all the experiences you've had from the day you were born. Every experience is stored as either a positive association or either as a negative association, either as a pleasurable experience or either as a painful experience. So for example, if I was bit by a dog at the age of 2 years old and I had to go to the hospital, I had to get an injection, I couldn't go out play with my friends, for me, the association of a dog in my subconscious would be a painful association. Now, as I grow older, and let's just say I'm at a birthday party at the age of 12 years old, and all my friends are playing with the dog at the park, even though my conscious logical mind should tell me that just because a dog bit me once, it doesn't mean a dog's going to bite me over and over again. But what happens? The subconscious mind works very differently. The job of the subconscious mind is to keep you alive. And so whenever it perceives anything as threatening or dangerous to you, it will automatically create fear as a defense mechanism to protect you. And you have the fight flight that kicks in, which obviously creates more stress in the body, but we'll come to that a little later. So then we are no longer operating out of our conscious logical mind. A lot of the way we behave, we respond to stress, we respond to anxiety, largely has to do with the conditioning and the learned behavior and the experiences that we've had in our childhood or from our past experiences. And we tend to hold on to that experience. We start to define ourselves by those experiences, and then those experiences become our beliefs and perceptions with which how we view the world. So we approach the world not by the actual truth of the moment, but by what it triggers in us. So in reality, we never respond to people or situations for what they are. We respond to people and situations based on what they trigger in us. So in my childhood, if I was abused by a parent, I developed a feeling of not being good enough. I held on to this feeling of not being good enough, and in my adult life, I would create experiences in relationships and respond negatively when anybody didn't make me feel good enough. And these become triggers for chronic repetitive behavior patterns. But if we were responding to people and situations for the truth of the moment, then a large part of who we were in the past has no bearing to our present and our future. But we're caught in this vicious cycle where we attach ourselves to experiences, we hold on to them, we define ourselves by them, and we create rules and belief systems which support those experiences. But at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, our intent is to live with more happiness, with more contentment, with more peace of mind, with more balance. And it's going to be a very difficult job for us to go there if we're still holding on to these turbulent programs and patterns and associations in the mind. So it's of no surprise that when we ask people to remain in the present moment, they're unable to do so, because the moment they're remaining still, their body and their mind and their emotions are telling them, but wait a second, you have to worry about not feeling good enough, and you have to worry about what happened in your childhood, and you have to be afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow. So you're never actually remaining in the present moment. And that is really the key to move out of this vicious cycle of pleasure and pain and positive and negative, and responding from experiences in the past which have no bearing and definition to who you are currently in the present. And that's kind of how we work with a lot of our clients over here at Illuminations, to help them program these patterns in order for them to achieve their goals. So if you want to feel more happiness, peace of mind, balance, and contentment, it's kind of aligning yourself by changing these programs and patterns. And there are a few ways that we can easily do that through the practices that I'm going to introduce to you today. So very briefly, do we have any questions? Anybody would like to add anything? All right. So in that case, let's just move forward. Like I said earlier, the first step is about remaining in the present moment. If you are depressed, you're living the past. If you're anxious, you're living the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present moment. And all of us want to have the tools to be able to live more mindfully, with more peace and more presence. So we do have the clarity of thought in order to approach and overcome the challenges that life does throw our way. And if we can empower ourselves with these tools and practices, we can have a better way to deal with these challenges and overcome our barriers. All right. So triggers for stress and anxiety. So when we talk about fear, stress, worry, we're talking about, triggers that we experience. And these triggers could be job pressure, money, health, relationships, poor nutrition, media overload. So I don't know if a lot of you have noticed, but the more you watch the coronavirus updates on the news, it kind of tends to play on your mind, because you're taking in so much of that fear from, mainstream media. You're using your you're using your screen. Whereas earlier, you probably wouldn't be on your phone or your computer or your mobile that much. And now you find yourself staring at the screen late at night before you wake up in the morning. And that blue light screen obviously has an effect on your hormones and on your melatonin levels. And that obviously can play an important role, because you're not showing up as the best version of yourself. So when we compromise our way of life, and when we ignore our self-care through sleep deprivation, media overload, nutrition, relationships, health, money, like obviously a lot of people have taken a hit, with the whole financial, pressures or job losses, or people have lost livelihoods. So all of this is kind of playing unconsciously, that if we don't address it, it's like a vessel where the water just keeps getting fuller and fuller and fuller, and it gets spilled across because we just can't take anymore. And when it spills across, it comes out as anger. It comes out as an overreaction. It comes out as fear. It comes out as stress. It comes out as sadness. So it manifests itself in many different ways. So the idea is
that all of this is something we have no control over. We have no control over when the pandemic is going to get over. We have no control over whether we're going to lose our job tomorrow. But what we do have control over is ensuring that within our own space, we can empty that vessel. We can empty that vessel so that we are able to have more clarity of thought, so that we don't have to respond. We can rather, or react in a negative manner, but we can approach it with a more calm or, peaceful approach. And I think that will determine our experience in this whole time. And that's kind of what we, want to help people achieve. Because if we constantly hold on to stress, this stress, a lot of it has to do, if we go back into understanding where stress originates from and why we actually stress, we understand that way back in the ages, man was as primitive as the animal, right? So man did whatever he wanted to based on his instinctual need. So we ate what we wanted to, we slept where we wanted to. If we wanted to waste, we'd waste wherever we wanted to. So man's existence was driven by instinct. But suddenly, right, man develops the ability to think. And the moment man starts to use his mind and his ability to think, what is the first thing he thinks about? The first thing he thinks about is survival against the animal. And how does he manage to survive against the animal? Well, he develops rules for living. And those rules say, I'm going to eat here, I'm going to sleep here, and I'm going to waste here. So if animals go by smell, the animal will get confused and I have greater chances of survival. Man then starts to think that if I'm by myself, I have lower chances of survival. But if I'm in a community and if I'm around people and if I'm in a partnership and if we procreate and create more of us, then we have greater chances of survival. So all of this has started because of man's ability to survive against the animal. It's based on survival. So a lot of times when we are faced with stress and anger, our survival mechanism kicks in. But we are no longer threatened. Our survival at some level or the other is not as threatened as it used to be way back in the ages. But what happens is that now man's existence is no longer based on instinct. Man has to create rules for living. So he can't do what he wants, when he wants, how he wants to do it. So the more rules we have, the more of a system we have to follow. The more of that we have to follow, the more inhibitions we have. The more inhibitions we have, the more internalization, and then the greater the breakdown. So now man is no longer operating out of instinctual need, but every time you have a thought, if you suppress that thought without any outlet to be able to release your thoughts and emotions in a healthy manner, you will have greater breakdown because you are simply suppressing, internalizing. And because of everything that's happening from media overload to job loss to relationship issue, our vessel is getting more and more and more full without any outlet to be able to release that feeling. And that is what creates that sort of breakdown. And we know that when that breakdown manifests, it starts with manifesting as negative emotions. And if not dealt with on the emotional level, like I said earlier, it affects your energy. And if not dealt with on the level of the energy, it affects your physical body. So understanding stress is extremely important, and finding an outlet to be able to release that stress is extremely, extremely essential for us to be able to show up as our best version of ourselves. So we all know what happens to stress in the body. You have the fight flight that kicks in. It releases the hormonal gland of adrenaline to give you the power to run the fastest race of your life. And then this adrenaline, sometimes when we don't resolve it, it leads to cortisol and creates a variety of more health issues if not resolved. All right. So there was an interesting study, a Japanese management study, where the Japanese understood this process really well, knowing that stress really reduces productivity. So what the Japanese did is that, in cultures like Japan or in Asia, to speak like against higher authority is considered to be widely disrespectful. So what they would do is that whenever an employee would have an issue with the boss, they would take out the cutout of the boss and place it in the basement of the office. And they would allow the employees to just basically punch the boss as many times in order for them to release the stress without taking the stress, internalizing it. Because what they found was that an overload of stress will take away around 72 hours of productive work. In order to combat that, if you can release your stress at the level of when it originated, chances are it won't affect you on the level of the mind, the body, and the energy. So that was an experiment that was done to help people highlight the negative impact of stress and productivity. But the good news is that 90% of what we worry about or stress about sometimes never happens. And, you know, stress becomes a very redundant approach, and it's more our way of wanting or desiring to feel like we are in control. So stress and anxiety has a lot to do with our need or our desire to feel like we are in control of everything that's happening within and around us. But what we realize is that it's extremely unproductive and redundant. So how do we stop this? Well, I have an approach, what I call the 3 Ps. We can stop it through perspective or a change in perspective. Okay. We can change it through being present and mindful. And we can use proactive tools that when we are in such a situation, we have tools such as breathing, visualization, and affirmations to guide us to move out of that state of stress and fear and bring us back to neutrality so that we can see, you know, what an event is, not from what it's triggering in us, but for what it really is. So we're not saying to be positive, we're just saying to be present, change your perspective, be proactive. And when you're able to do that, you're able to neutralize those limiting emotions which no longer serve you in order for you to have that clarity of thought, that intuition, those aha moments of inspiration. Nobody was ever inspired when they were feeling fearful. So we're not telling you what you should feel, but we are simply helping you break the barriers that are blocking you from being happier, from being more creative, and for being more productive. Are we good so far? Can I have somebody ask one question so I feel like everyone's on the same page and listening to what I'm saying, or either everyone's listening to everything I'm saying or you guys are listening to nothing that I'm saying. So I just want someone to kind of share their feedback or, you know, maybe ask a question. So I know you guys are still there and still all ears.
Still listening. Thank you. It's really
great. Any questions from anyone? Any feedback that they'd like to share?
Hi. I just think that's really interesting about what's happened in Japan, but I have a feeling you're not going to tell us that we should resort to violently punching images of our boss if we're a bit upset one day or another. So hopefully we'll have some more. Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, and I was just pondering how we could have more positive outlets that wouldn't have the same effect.
So maybe
can I say something?
Yes, just to say something on
that. Guys,
I
need to leave. I need to leave in 5 minutes. Can we learn something like a tool? Can you give us a tool to be more present?
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to take you to the 3 Ps. Okay. So we can talk about, I mean, I apologize, but I just kind of want everyone to feel like it's a two-way street kind of thing. All right. The first is our perspective. All right. Obviously, sometimes it's easier said than done when I say, just accept the current situation for what it is. We had like a lady share earlier that sometimes I just want to go with the flow. But that's not always possible because we need to understand the factors that make us unhappy. There are only 3 factors that make us unhappy. Number 1 is other people's behavior. Number 2 is their circumstance. And number 3 is our own behavior. All right? Now, we always expect other people's behavior or the circumstance to change in order for us to be happy. But we know with the coronavirus and the pandemic that that's not possible, right? So how do we shift what's happening within us so we can change what's happening just around us? So let's assume the worst that's making us unhappy. Now, if this unhappiness is because of something that we have done or you have done, what do you end up feeling? You end up feeling guilty. If this happiness is because of what other people have done, you end up feeling angry. And if it's because of the circumstance, you end up feeling helpless because there's nothing you can do. And all of this ends up feeling or providing us with a sense of lack of control, which creates fear and anxiety. So how do we change that? We change that by, number 1, changing our perspective. So at every given moment, we call this the flip model. Whenever we feel guilty, okay, we need to change that and understand what is it that we can learn from the situation. What could I have done more and what can I do later? When we feel angry, we understand that we can't change people for what they are. All we can do is change what they trigger in us. And if people are triggering us or making us feel angry, we have to use those triggers as key areas of a part of us, ourself, which is not healed. And just introspect. So if a person is making me feel not good enough and that's making me angry, rather than getting angry at them making me not feel not good enough, I need to understand, where is this anger coming from? And that will help me move from anger to acceptance. Helplessness, like earlier, we can't change the situation, but what can we do? A lot of people are saying, I learned a new skill. This gave me the motivation, the creativity to break my barriers and learn something new. Helplessness can give us motivation. And at the end of the day, we have to flip fear to faith. So changing this as a perspective is extremely important, because without that, if we don't have the self-awareness to change our perspective, if we give power to everything outside of us, we never have the responsibility and the power to change what's within us. So perspective is about taking 100% responsibility and taking charge of your life, because you cannot change the outside world. You can only change what's happening inside of you. So perspective equals responsibility, 100% responsibility and taking charge. That's the first foundation. Without that, we can't move to the next stage. So perspective is number 1, right? So I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you after. I'm going to, you will receive all of this on email. So perspective is what I'm talking about, is changing response, taking full responsibility for your life and understanding what you can do rather than trying to expect the outside world to change it for you. Number 2 is mindfulness. We've all heard of this trending topic called mindfulness, but what does it really mean to be mindful? Okay, despite how turbulent your mind is on the surface, I don't know if any of you have gone diving before or scuba diving. We know that as turbulent the shores are, when you dive deep down into the sea, we can all feel and experience that state of calm. That inner calm resides in you at every given point in time, no matter how wavering and turbulent the conscious mind is. Deep within you, you have access to that stillness. That's the first and foremost, most important thing for you to understand, is that within us, you have the power and potential to remain calm. How do you access it? Well, I have a little bit of a tool here, all right? I want everyone to close their eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. And I want you to do a quick exercise. I want you to tune in to the sounds in the background. And I want you to count how many sounds it is that you can hear. You will be surprised that as you tune in to the sounds, you will start to hear sounds that you never previously were aware of. The sound of your breath, the white noise from the air conditioning in the background, the traffic on the street, the noises in the background if there's anybody around you. And now what I want you to do is I want you to take a mental scan of the sensations in your body. And I want you to set an intent of completely relaxing your body with your eyes closed. Your body might start feeling heavy on the head. There might be stiffness on your neck. Feel the support of the chair on your back, pressing against your thighs. Tune into all the sensations that you feel in your body: heaviness, lightness, a tingling sensation, warm, cold. Now, as you focus and tune into the sounds in the background and the sensations in your body, I now want you to observe your thoughts and emotions. Don't try to control them or stop them. Just witness your thoughts and emotions. You might feel uncomfortable. You might feel wavering. And finally, I want you to focus on your breathing. Feel your breath moving in and out very gently, in through your nostrils and out. And now, whenever your mind wanders away from your breathing, I want you to catch yourself like you do to a little child and bring your attention and awareness back to your breathing by repeating silently the key word, present. So keep the focus, awareness on your breathing. And if at all your mind wanders away from your breath, very lovingly and very gently say the word present and bring your attention back to your breathing. I'm going to do this exercise for 2 more minutes. If your mind wanders away, very gently, present. You can feel the sensations in the body. You can tune into the sounds in the background. You are here and you are in the now. The stillness of your body, your breath, the sounds in the background. present. 1 more minute. Present. All right. You may comfortably open your eyes. Now this is a grounding exercise. If you are feeling anxious or stressed or any of these emotions, all you can do is first stay here and now. That is the best way to overcome any form of stress and anxiety. And we'll take this one step further, because sometimes it's not easy when your mind is turbulent. But the goal is that this is the first step to staying in the here and now. And our next stage will be to observe where the mind is taking you, if not in the present. Many times I help people write it down or pay attention. So sometimes when I'm trying to meditate or when I'm trying to stay present, I'll start thinking about work, or I'll start thinking about, what he told me yesterday or what she told me yesterday, or I'll start thinking about what I need to do tomorrow, or I'll start thinking about, like an issue that I had last week. All of this is taking me away from the present moment. But the moment I become aware of it, I put it in a corner in a file and I tell myself I'll come back to it. I very lovingly and very gently bring myself to my present moment awareness with the sounds in the background, with my breathing, with the sensations in my body, where I can actually feel myself on this chair. I'm automatically remaining or practicing the skill of becoming more present. That is the best and the first way. In therapy, what we help people do is we say that if your mind is very turbulent, chances are this turbulence is coming from a lot of disturbances from your past, which is why a lot of people find it very difficult to remain still. They find it difficult to remain still because there's so much turbulence in their mind that when you ask them to remain present, there's an anxiety that kicks in, because their defense is coming up, because they want to protect themselves, because they don't want to feel that way. Because the last time they felt that way, that feeling was really painful for them. So people want to do their best to avoid pain and always attach themselves to pleasure. So we will do our best to avoid painful emotions and feelings, and remaining present will bring them up. But by being self-aware, when you're mindful, if something is not in alignment with you, or if your intention is to live a happier, healthier, more productive way of life, the first thing is to become aware from everything that's blocking you from being that way. Because it's not what you need to be, it's everything that's blocking you from being that. So I'm going to email you guys the exercise that we talked about today, but if you can just bring your awareness, and this is taught to kids in schools, I'm sure a lot of you have probably experienced mindfulness before, but this is the quickest and the fastest way for you to start grounding yourself in the now. And that is the most powerful way to overcome any challenge that you're facing in the moment. And it will make you more self-aware as an individual, a mirror to show you if you're not turbulent, it's because of the disturbing thoughts and emotions, which you need to resolve. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets, and the more you can master the skill as you master any other skill in life. All right? So how do we take this mindfulness a step further? Is by observing your breathing. Your breath is directly connected with your mind. When you start regulating your breath, you can also regulate the thoughts in your mind. The breath and the mind are best friends. So we have different techniques. For example, when you're in a stressful situation and you want to remain calm within minutes, the best way to remain calm is through breathing. breathing can help you take your mindfulness practice even further. So I'm going to guide you through really quickly a few breathwork tools, and then I'm going to share this presentation with you so that you can do this in your own space. Because these are the most powerful tools which will allow you to empty your vessel, which is overloaded by everything. And when this empty vessel is overloaded, you will not be able to show up as your best self. You cannot be productive. It will make it a lot more challenging in order to be able to do so. So let's first focus on the different breathing techniques. Number one is cleansing breathing, which is very simple. It's just basically breathing in and out. So I want you to close your eyes. Okay, and just breathe in regularly and focus on the breath moving in and out of the nostrils by closing your mouth. So keep your mouth closed, and for just regularly, I want you to focus on the awareness of your breathing or the air moving in and out of your nostrils. But focus on regular breathing at your normal pace, just for 1 minute. You can feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils with your mouth closed. And for all those where if your mind is taking you away from your breath, like I said, use the keyword present, and very lovingly and very gently bring your awareness back to breathing in and out of your nostrils. All right. Now we have something called equal breathing. Equal breathing is breathing equally as much as you breathe in and out. So supposing I'm going to breathe in through 6 counts and I'm going to breathe out through 6 counts. Okay. So I'm going to take a deep breath in and inhale in through my nose and out through my mouth. 6 counts. All right. So 1, 2, 3, start. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Breathe out through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Now we're going to focus on rapid breathing. Okay, so rapid breathing is when we want more energy and motivation on a day-to-day basis and we're feeling lethargic or low. Okay, so it's basically closing your mouth and breathe in and out through your nose really rapidly as fast as you can. So we're going to do this for a minute, and you're going to have to be strong when you do this. And breathe through your core. All right. So I breathe in. Rapidly in and out through your nose. In and out through your nose. Keep your mouth closed. Really fast. Breathe in and out, 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 in and out for a minute. In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Keep breathing in and out, 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 in and out. Just continue. 20 more seconds. In and out, 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 in and out. You can stop. Close your eyes. Just relax, and you can feel that when you breathe rapidly, all the tension, all the lack of clarity sometimes can give you the motivation to kind of wake up, feel more energized. Don't do this before you go to bed because it might give you more energy and you might not be able to sleep. So it's better to do it in the, like in the morning. We then have abdominal breathing. Like alternate nostril breathing. Alternate nostril breathing is basically breathe in through one nose and out through one nose. So if everyone can put their hand like a gun, like this, like as if you're about to shoot someone, yeah, like a gun, all right? Now take the thumb and cover the right nostril, okay? So you can only breathe in and out through your left nostril, and then take your index finger and the other finger so you can cover the left nostril, okay? We're gonna alternate between that. So I'm gonna take my hand like this, all right? I'm gonna take my thumb and cover my right nostril, all right? And I'm gonna breathe in through my left nostril for 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna cover the left nostril and breathe out through the right nostril. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm going to breathe in through the right nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to cover the right nostril with my thumb and breathe out through the left nostril. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to breathe in through the left nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cover the left nostril, breathe out through the right nostril. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Preferably with my eyes closed. All right, so this is an alternate nostril breathing. It can also help you to restore balance, okay? So this is a great technique, and any of these breathing techniques can be used prior to the mindfulness practice, because when you use these breathing techniques prior to the mindfulness practice, your state of mind is a lot more calmer already, and you're able to go into that state of mindfulness a lot more effortlessly than if you were just in stress and then try to close your eyes. So breathing is like the pre-foundation for mindfulness. So sometimes breathing works really well because it's like a garbage cleansing mechanism. Your thoughts are jumbled in your mind and in your body and in your energy. Breathing helps you to like clean them out, cleanse it out, ground yourself, become more stable, and then focus on the mindfulness process. All right? So the last type of breathing is how children breathe or how babies breathe. They breathe through their stomach. So instead of breathing through your chest, you breathe through your stomach. So when you take a deep breath in, the stomach comes out. And when you take a deep breath out, your stomach moves in. So basically it's like this. So if I'm breathing in, my stomach goes in, out. If I'm breathing out, my stomach goes in. All right. So if I take a deep breath in, my stomach is going out. When I take a deep breath out, my stomach goes in. All right. And this is a way to breathe through the stomach. So when you inhale, stomach goes out. When you exhale, stomach goes in. And this is a great way for relaxation. It is also how babies breathe. And so they get sleep, right? So for those of you who are struggling with sleep, breathing through your stomach is very, very powerful just before you go to bed at night. So these are the different types of breathing techniques that you can use in order for you to feel a lot more grounded, stable, and calm, right? So these are proactive tools prior to
remaining present, okay, that we can use. And then we can also then start to close our eyes, tune into the sounds in the background, tune into the sensations in our body, tune into the emotions we are feeling, pay attention and awareness to where our emotions are taking us, and very gently focus on your breathing very normally and bring your attention back to your breathing at every given time. Okay, so this is combination of breath work and mindfulness that you can do as a daily wellness ritual. Because like I said, it's important to apply these tools so that you are able to take in more information, and and that information doesn't get stuck on you. You don't become attached to that information. It doesn't get personal. And you're able to use these as cleansing mechanisms in order to empty your vessel, in order to hold space, in order to retain more information. And that can help you operate out of your optimum, become more productive, be less reactive, be more creative. Because if the mind is unclear, inspiration doesn't come. It usually comes when the mind is more still. All right? And then we come into the final part of it, which is a couple of visualization tools that you can do, right? So visualization is a great way for you to, kind of visualize the kind of life that you want, right? So after I, experience this feeling of being present, the best way for me, if I don't know where I'm going, I don't know how to get there. And that's why having a vision for your life is extremely important, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, how do you get there? So it's kind of like when you're more present, you have more clarity of thought. And once you have more clarity of thought as to where you want to go, visualization can help you get there. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So what I normally do is I do and I do this on a daily basis. I do like my breathing techniques. You could be in the bath, you could be, taking like a salt bath. You can be in the bed at night or when you wake up in the morning. It depends where you feel most comfortable and where you feel most calm and still. But what I usually do is I start with these breathing exercises. And then from the breathing exercises, I move into mindfulness, where I focus on the sounds in the background and I really remain present and bring my mind to the present moment where I feel the sensations in my body. I can feel my breath. And usually sometimes when I feel the sensations in my body, I'll tend to feel a heaviness in my chest. I'll tend to feel heaviness because this is where I'm storing stress. We unconsciously store stress in our body that we don't even realize because we're so much in our mind that we're not conscious of our bodies. We're not conscious of the stress that we're holding on to our body. Okay, so we do the breathing, we do the mindfulness, we focus on being present, and then when we have more clarity of thought, we can use a technique of creative visualization. So let's just say I want to experience more inner joy and happiness. Okay, so when I close my eyes, I evoke all my five senses. So what does this inner joy and happiness look like? So what can I see? What does this joy and happiness touch like? If I had to touch it, how would it feel? Would it feel soft? Would it feel hard? If I had to taste it, what would this joy and happiness taste like? Would it taste like chocolate cake? Would it taste like roses? Would it taste like whatever it is? If I had to smell this joy, what would it smell like? Would it smell like fresh grass or the salty air on a beach? Or what would it sound like? I can hear the waves of an ocean. So when I want to visualize anything, for example, I want to feel more calmer. Where in my life have I felt calm? I felt calm on being on a beach. So what I do is I visualize myself on a beach, but I do that evoking the five senses. Because when you evoke like all your senses, for the mind cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality, right? And we all understand the power of thought and how we can use our thought to create the reality that we experience. So if you look at quantum science and look at energy healing and you talk about like meditation, a lot of doctors and
scientists are now highlighting the impact of the thoughts and our thoughts and emotions on the reality that we experience. So if, for example, like your creation for your life is, what you want to experience more joy, where have you felt that joy before? If you want to experience more abundance, where have you experienced more of that abundance before? If you experienced more calmness, where have you experienced that calmness before? So you need to create an intent for your meditation experience or for your wellness ritual. What is it that I feel now, and what is it that I want to feel? If I feel a certain way now, and if I want to change that feeling, how do I change that feeling, right? So like I said, you need to have a clear intent from where you are to where you want to go. And these practices can help you get there. So I will then say, I want to feel more joyful in my life, or I want to feel more calm. You'll ask yourself, what does calm look like to me? What does calm taste like to me? What does calm smell like to me? What does calm sound like to me? So all of evoking the 5 areas will allow you to deepen this experience. And if you continue this for 21 days on a regular basis, I guarantee that you will definitely have a more positive, more productive, and more creative capacity to be able to show up as the best version of yourself. All right? We all know the power to think positive. There was a rice experiment done in Japan again by a man or a scientist by the name of Dr. Emoto, where he took 3 jars of rice, right? And for 3 weeks, he would repeat affirmations or thoughts. So to 1 jar of rice, he kept saying, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot. To the other jar of rice, he kept saying, I'm thankful, I'm grateful for you. I'm so thankful, I'm so grateful to you. And to the 3rd jar, he just ignored it. So to the jar where he experienced the maximum amount of gratitude, the rice was completely fine. There was nothing spoiled. Whereas the other 2 jars, they got spoiled. So it shows you that, through the power of thought, through the power of emotion, through the power of energy, we have the ability to create the life that we want or the life that we deserve. And so through these practices such as visualization, breathing techniques, remaining present, it will unlock the key to more self-awareness as about the thoughts, about the emotions, about the energy that's governing your life. And it will give you the clarity, and it will bring up areas in your life that you need to reflect on, and it will only help you and progress you to the next stage of, where it is that you want to go. So I don't want to take up too much of your time because I could go on and on about this, but I'm going to share the PowerPoint with you. I'm also going to, we've also recorded the talk. So we'll email you the link because we put all of our talks on YouTube. We can email you the link privately so you can have access to this recording so that you can go back and reflect on the points that I brought up. And if there's any questions now that you'd like to take, I know I've kind of ran through it really quickly, but I believe we only kind of had a short period of time, and there's a lot of information to kind of, run through. So I'd like to take any questions. Anybody? We have no questions. Anybody would like to share their experience or gain some, more clarity on any of the practices that I've shared?
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
I'm Anamika. So cleansing breathing and equal breathing, right? So when we say cleansing breathing, you mean to say just normal breathing at our own pace? That's it.
Yeah. But being aware of the breath. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else? Has anyone experienced the mindfulness practice before at some level, or?
Hi, sorry, can I just ask questions?
I would like.
Yeah, let's take the voice earlier. Yeah, tell me.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you, when you said the power of thought, when you said something, how you want to feel, does the power of when you want to get somewhere, is it a goal or can it be a feeling? Because you referred to, I want to feel happy or I want to feel joyful, but can it also be linked to I want to achieve this goal, I want to achieve that goal? So is that, can it apply to fit both how you feel and both what you want to do in life?
Exactly. It can apply to how you feel as with what you want to do in life. Yeah, for some people, they just want to experience that inner joy and emotion, right now, because they feel that, it's maybe not about the event happening, but if you can't feel something, right now, then, chances are, even when you get what you want, it'll only be temporary in nature, like I spoke about earlier. That if, like, example, I'm not in a relationship, of course I might want to manifest a relationship, of course I think a relationship will bring out like a new side that I want to experience, but does it mean that I'm going to be unhappy in the relationship? Now what do I want in a relationship that the relationship should make me feel? Well, I want the relationship to make me feel loved and nurtured, right? So yes, the end goal is the relationship, so I can see myself manifesting a relationship, but what is it that I can do right now to make myself feel that way? What am I doing to nurture myself? Am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of my thoughts? Am I feeling nurturing myself? Am I kind to myself? If I want another person to be kind to me, am I kind to myself? So that's another question as well, right? So yes, you do have your end goal, but what you can't feel today, it's very difficult to feel even when you have or when you reach your goal as well. So the idea is that, we want the things we want because we think those things are going to make us feel the way we want to feel. But why not feel them today? Why wait for that goal? So yes, one way is it that you can focus on the goal, which is of course extremely important. And this is what a lot of people in sports do. They visualize that perfect shot because they know exactly when their mind, their body, their alignment, hit that perfect shot. Everybody remembers that perfect shot. So in sports, we have an approach called hypnodrama, where you can actually replay that perfect shot so that your body becomes aligned to repeating that same action. So for sure, you have goal as well, but also beyond that goal, you need to ask yourself that question, can I feel that way today?
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. That's really helpful. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Raya. I would like to ask, you talked about breathing through the stomach, how it helps during sleeping.
Yeah.
I happen to be one person who has got a problem with sleeping. So can you just help me more about that? Because if I'm stressed, I cannot sleep, I can barely sleep. If I'm so happy, excited, I can't sleep. So right. I find it so difficult. So when you talked about it, that it helps.
It's because of the adrenaline, which, when you're excited and you're overworked, the body goes into a fight-flight mode, right? So you kind of got to bring yourself back into balance, which is why I said the first thing you need to do is the breathing exercise. Okay? The breathing exercise will help you to regulate your thought processes and bring you back down to homeostasis, is what we call, right? Then the mindfulness about bringing yourself back into the present, it's basically scientifically proven to reduce the fight flight response, because the activities in the brain will slow down. Your brain activity is on overdrive. So what mindfulness helps you to do, this brain is overdrive thinking about the past and the future. Like, I'm excited about what I'm going to feel tomorrow, or I'm worried about what I felt yesterday. So by bringing yourself back, and it's an exercise and it's not easy. It's like you are taking a boat into the choppy waters. What's going to happen? The boat is going to move all around, and it's going to give you all the excuses in the world as to why you should not be calm. It will take you all over, but the goal is to master the art of being present. And this is what I wanted to teach you. By being present, you can help align yourself in order for you to reach that state of grounding and neutrality. Make sense?
Yeah, sure.
You start the breathing, you complete it with the mindfulness, and then you can complete it with the affirmations or the visualization process.
All right, thank you so much. I find that useful, especially when I'm excited. It can help But when I'm stressed, for example, I don't know if you have ever been in a situation where you have a separation with your family, like you cannot stop thinking about it, even if you do anything like to divert your mind away from it, it keeps on coming back. So I wonder how to go about that. Like in a situation, there is nothing you can do apart from calling. You cannot travel to them. You cannot, in such a situation.
Okay. So you need to ask yourself, what is it triggering in you? Like when you can't, when you can't go and meet someone, or when you're, you're stressed or you're fearful. What is the thought process that's making you feel?
Yeah, like I feel I should grow wings and go to them. Like when you feel, for example, if your child is like crying, they really need you to be there. You understand. I don't know if you can understand.
And
so even if you talk to them,
right?
you think
Correct?
it cannot help.
So you're feeling helpless, basically.
Yeah, like you feel helpless. Whatever you think about, like it's not solving anything.
Yeah.
So there is not, you try to divert your mind away from it, but like it keeps on popping in back into your mind.
So if I asked you to run, a 100-meter race with professional athletes, you will also have, it'll also be very, very hard in the beginning, correct? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very hard because you don't have practical skills. So in the same way, presence is a skill, and the skill needs to be cultivated. The skill needs to be practiced, right? So I've given you a practice today. Yes, it is difficult. And you know consciously in your mind that by stressing and worrying, all you are doing is trying to feel more in control. Because you think in your mind, if you stress and worry, your mind wants to feel control, right? So if I invite you to say, okay, I cannot control everything, I'm going to try to become more present. You will start to feel that the anxiety that you're feeling will automatically start to disappear when you practice being present. Right? But initially, it's like running a 100-meter race with professional athletes, right? You feel intimidated because how will I do this? But if you don't start today, then when are you going to start, right? So if I'm inviting you to practice this every day, every time your mind wanders with the breathing, just say present, right? Another thing that you can do is if you find it very difficult to stay with your thoughts, do one thing. Take a piece of paper and write down everything you're feeling. When you take it off your mind, it's like, how they say, you take this off your chest. I'm taking this off my chest, right? So you write down everything that you're feeling. You take like an empty pot and you burn it. So you will automatically feel, because for some people, they can't use their mind to be still. So if you can't use your mind, take a piece of paper, write down I'm feeling fearful, exactly what you told me right now. I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling this. Write it all down, right? Write it all down and just keep writing. Even if it doesn't make sense, write, because you're taking it out of your mind. Take it out of your mind by writing it on a paper. Once you write it on a paper, you have an empty flower pot, just burn it. Burn it in the flower pot and throw it away. Do this every day. If you find meditation or mindfulness difficult, you can also use this process as well. It really helps. You will see things start to change. Automatically, you won't be so worried anymore. So if you find it difficult, to complete this practice, use the journaling. We call it journaling. Write down your thoughts, take it out of your mind and take it somewhere else. But remember, when you wake up the next day, wake up as an empty vessel. Don't carry the thoughts and fears from yesterday, because now you're going to get more and more thoughts and more thoughts. Then you're going to spill, right? So you don't want to spill. You want to make sure that you are empty. Okay, and that's the way to master. And then one day you wake up and you say, oh, I don't feel so bad anymore. I don't know. I think I'm okay now. So it takes a while. It's a practice. Like any skill, it's a practice that you need to master and cultivate. All right? Any other questions?
You're
welcome. Any other questions?
I'm conscious of what time it is now, and I know that we've been going a bit longer, but I just want to jump on the back of that and maybe to conclude, you know, you're right when you're talking about our evolutionary response, that stress response is like we're being chased by a tiger, and it's really hard for us to switch off that switch in our mind. When you're being chased by a tiger, your rational brain is not going to go, hey, it's okay, you're not actually being chased by a tiger. So it is that mindfulness that cultivates that ability to switch that switch more easily when it happens. And I've just found that even if I've caught myself spiraling like that and going in that direction, just identifying you're having an anxious thought pattern, or you're having a stressful thought pattern, you're having a stressful response. And as soon as I can identify that, it's gone. It breaks that chain, and it just hits the restart button. So I hope that helped everybody just to have those techniques, because it is something that obviously it's exercise for your brain and it's cultivated, but there's a lot of studies now, especially with mindfulness being such a huge topic of scientific inquiry, that backs up what changes in our brain. So yeah, just thank you, Sonia. Really, this has been great.
Like if we have the awareness, so self-awareness is the first step, that we can't always control what's around us, but we can control what's within us. And just remaining more clear and more present by being more of an empty vessel, like, you know, so that we're, you know, like more caring for our thoughts, that we're more aware of when the anxiety pattern comes in, we know how to manage it better. Because if you know when it's coming from, and the moment you become conscious of it, like when I ask people to close their eyes and look inside their body and look at the, you know, you'll notice that there's been a neck pain, and it was always there, but you just became aware of it right now, you know, and now you're like, oh yeah, actually my neck is really, really stiff, because we're not in our body. So the moment you become aware of the way you feel in your body, automatically you're moved away from your mind, and you're becoming more conscious about the stress that's governing your life. And the stress very much resides in the body as well. It resides in your jaws, it resides in your stomach, which is why when you feel anxious, you have this, you know, feeling in your stomach. So all of this anxiety is always actually there, but we don't take the time to check in and notice that. And, you know, and as you rightly said, it's the first step is really awareness. And once you become aware, these practices can help you to overcome whatever emotions that you want to overcome, basically. So, all right. Any other questions? Excellent. So it was lovely talking to you guys, and so we're going to email you all the information and details. So if you have any questions for me at any point, please stay in touch. I will provide you with my personal email and details. And so if there's any questions that you need, you can reach out at any point in time. So I hope you enjoyed the seminar, and have a lovely day. Take care.
Much. Really appreciate it. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.